Hey guys, welcome back to Sailing Merriweather. This week I have a bit of extra content for you. We're doing a boat tour on a Bayfield 40. The owners are Kyle and Missy. Their sailing vessel is named Macushla. So please stick around, check it all out. They're legends. We've been sailing with them for 6 months. I hope you enjoy.
I'm Missy.
I'm Kyle.
This is our boat, Macushla.
Welcome aboard.
We are from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. We've had the boat for just over 3 years. And she's a Bayfield 40, which is a Gozer design boat. Kyle actually found her. She came from Bayfield, Ontario, she is a Bayfield. So it's actually the town that Bayfields were made in.
Built in Canada.
Built in Canada, right on the Great Lakes there. So Kyle saw her through an ad and went and looked at her, and we bought her within a couple weeks.
Welcome to the Bayfield 40. Let's see, we'll just kind of start big picture. It's a 1986 built boat. It's 40 feet overall, and that would be like basically from the front of the hull all the way to the stern. If you count the bowsprit, it's 47 feet. It's kind of got a fun big bowsprit up there. It's a full keel, heavy boat, weighs 28,000 pounds. We've got a Yankee and a staysail, and the main and the mizzen, which we'll talk more about, but she's certainly not the fastest. Doesn't go upwind very well. She can do it, but it's kind of rough. Goes downwind great, but yeah, it's that big bowsprit going way up to the front. Gives a little more sail area for the whole configuration, putting the Yankee out front. So the head sail is a pretty high cut Yankee, you'll see in some photos, but keeps it way high off the water, so it's quite good visibility when you're flying the head sail, which I really do like that. Biggest thing, or one of the big projects, was kind of just redoing all the anchoring system. We were able to salvage the old windlass. That's a Seawolf 520 windlass that we're able to take apart and kind of rework the gears on it. Unique to the Bayfields, inside there's no V-berth, so really we've got a lot of forward storage. We've kind of got these large anchor lockers here. Here, and we store fenders and whatever, you know, lots of extra room in there just for working in there. And then same thing on the other side, we'll keep like the spinnaker, we keep a little Honda generator in there. It's quite full, kind of a mess right now, but that's just life aboard, I guess. Kind of talking configuration again for the boat. Obviously we're a catch cutter, so we've got the 2 head sails, we've got the Yankee and the staysail, and then we have our main and the mizzen. And for Missy and I, just being just the 2 of us, most of the time we're, you know, just the 2 of us sailing. It's really nice to have the sail area split between 4 sails. The Bayfield's kind of got the classic lines, and it's kind of a good mix of the fiberglass and then also a lot of wood accents. For example, like the butterfly hatch here right in the center. It's, you know, it looks pretty. It's great. We love it. Missy's worked her butt off to, especially when we're restoring it, to get that all looking pristine, and but it takes a lot of work, especially in the tropics and in the sun, to keep any sort of whether you're a purist and you're running a pure varnish on there, or you're running sea tall like us middle folk do, you know, yeah, it's kind of a constant battle. When we bought the boat, it didn't really have any canvas work done on it. I guess there was a bimini on the back here, but no side enclosures or anything like that. No dodger, no middle connection piece or anything. And as we first sailed it the first year, we realized, like, wow, we've got to have a dodger. But I bought a good commercial sewing machine. I kind of just started teaching myself. I made the dodger first, and that was the first add-on, and that was done the first year. And then the second year did the bimini with the side enclosures on that. And then when we got down to the Caribbean, realized, okay, we need the center connection piece, just because the sun is such a brutal thing here. You got to be able to escape at midday or you're really struggling. It took me probably, I figured, about 100 hours of labor to do all of it. So, you know, it's a solid 2-week project of like working away like back home. So we were running on top of the Dodger, we're running 2 Solbian flexible solar panels, and they're 120 watts a piece. They're kind of flexible there, and they can arc to the shape of the fabric there, and if the wind's blowing and they're flapping a little bit, they've been holding up fine. And then we had a 160 watt over the davits there from where the dinghy hangs off the stern of the boat. which gave us just shy of 400 watts of solar. So we just recently put a couple wings on, just some 100-watt panels on either side, which brings us to just shy of 600 watts now, which has really made a big difference because under sail, at least one of these sides is always in the sun, which really helps us. For the Bayfield 40, the cockpit configuration, you know, for being a stern cockpit, it's not a center cockpit or anything like that. It stays quite dry, even though it's a relatively low freeboard. You feel like you're pretty close to the water. And we've definitely taken waves in here, but that's usually in really heavy weather. That's one thing I really do like about the Bayfield 40 is we've got the large tow rail that goes all the way around the whole perimeter of the boat. It kind of comes up above where you walk right there, creating quite the area for if you drop anything, you know, it's not going to go rolling off the side. And then we also, for water, for the most part, all we're doing is catching rainwater. So that helps us dramatically for that. We've got two large midship scuppers that drain all the water off the sides of the boat. Really, any of the water that comes on any of the boat all goes down through those two midship scuppers. And in those, I've got a large Y valve that we can change and redirect all that rainwater that the boat's collecting down through a center backbone, and it goes through a filter and then into our single 120-gallon water tank. For passage, it's like my favorite spot is we'll take one of the big cockpit cushions, we lay it back here, I'll put a pillow there, and it's just, you know, I can fit right back here in this spot, and it's like, oh, I can see everything I need to see on the radar or any of that. I've got a pretty good lookout, and it's just super comfortable just to kind of lay here while you're on passage, let the autopilot do its thing. And yeah, we really do enjoy the comfort of the cockpit on the Bayfield 40. So the Bayfield 40, if you like winches, if you like winching on stuff, it's definitely the boat for you. They've pretty much got a winch for everything. It's kind of nice. You have a lot of backup options, but between the mizzen where we've got winches up here, we've got, you know, both head sail winches here, and then basically a winch for every halyard you could think of, all directed back into the cockpit. And there's also your reefing winch up for the main, up forward on the main mast. So that's everything's in the cockpit. It's all controlled from the cockpit here, except if we need to reef the main via the slab reefing, there is a winch up there, so we do move forward to the main mast to put a reef in the main. Yeah, come on down and I'll show you inside. So for the Bayfield 40 on the engine, right below your companionway steps, here's the engine. The engine's a Westerbeek 52. It's the original engine that was put in 1986. And yeah, it pushes us along at about, we're really easy on it. We run it at about 2,000 RPM, maybe around 2,100 RPM. And that pushes us along at about 5.5 knots in calm water, and it burns about just over half a gallon an hour.
Well, welcome to our home. This is our beautiful Bayfield. As you can see, I fell in love with the woodwork on our friend's boat, and that's what kind of sold us on this. And I love the layout and just the whole feel of it. It just feels like a really cool old library to me, I guess. So I was pretty stoked when we found this boat. Here's really big home tour. Here's our living room, or our settee, as most people call it. We had our friends and their kiddos on the boat. It was really fun. They turned this into a giant fort, and then we had the actual guest room and then our room. Here is our galley, or our kitchen, where all the magic happens. Okay. The gimbaled stove, so you can see this rolly anchorage. Gimbaled stove. We've got clips for everything when we're out at sea to keep things in place, keep everything moving. It's really great handholds, and I love having this mast here too. It's something to lean on while we cook. Super unique. Well, there's probably a lot of boats like this, but one of the things I really loved about this boat was that there was only one head for a 40-foot boat. That's kind of unique, but for just the two of us, we didn't need two bathrooms. So we actually have a really spacious bathroom. We did give up the V-berth for that, so our room is in the back. The other really nice thing is that there's a really big shower, but we live on the boat. And we have a lot of toys. So the shower has become our storage space. We did use it a lot, like when we were up in Lake Superior, it was so cold. So it was nice to shower inside. We don't have hot water. So either way, you're taking a cold shower. But Kyle just recently installed this fancy garden hose. So we can pull that up through, up onto the bow and actually shower with like a really decent shower head. Here's our big, deep, amazing fridge. It's kind of fun. It's been unique learning how to provision and store food and keep food fresh while on passage and while moving. And of course everything slides around and bangs around, so getting used to that, but it does really well. Kyle's got it all set up and keeps things really nice and cool. This is like everybody's favorite, the squeaky captain's chair. So it's just a fun, here's our nav station. We've set it up, this is all new to incorporate the VHF, all the different stuff, the water gauge, just everything we need. Bilge alarms, Kyle built all this out so that we're good to go. Here is our bedroom. Again, another thing that I really loved about the Bayfields in particular was how open they are, but you can close them. So that goes up, and then this big door slides and makes a whole big, small private little room. Do it again. Same with the other side. They're even on both sides, but again, for just the two of us, I really liked the kind of open floor plan. And then our man cave. So this is the garage, as we call it, and it's kind of, it is our guest room if and when we have guests on board, and then we find little spots to store all that stuff, but it also holds all of our toys, our kiteboarding gear, our surfing gear, fishing gear, everything else that we need. Okay, so these are our beautiful butterfly hatches. Again, a huge selling point for me on the boat. I just love the look of them. And they are really great because they do provide lots of great air. The flip side to that is they've been a ton of work. When we first got it, they leaked like crazy. So we've replaced all the windows in it, redid all the wood. We still have one leaky spot we can't quite track, but for the most part, they're just great. I love them.
So the idea of sailing for us came about when we were doing a lot of land-based trips and really kind of exploring the world via whether it's camper van or staying in hostels or just looking for remote places. Pretty much always drawn to the water, to the sea. And I specifically remember a time where we kind of had the idea of the sailing. We were in the Philippines, and it was quite a mission via moto and then a boat taxi and everything to get out to a surf break and paddle way out there, and you're in the line up there, and there's a couple other guys there, and I remember this guy coming around the corner on a surfboard, just paddling around the corner, and kind of shows up, and he's having a great time, made some friends with him, and then I asked him where he came from, or how did he make it out to the break, and he says, it took us forever
to get there.
And he's like, I'm just anchored in my boat right around the corner. And I was like, the wheels started turning, and I was like, man, so you're telling me you got your house right here next to the surf break, and there's no rules, you can anchor here, live here, surf all you want. So I was like, man, maybe we're doing something wrong. So then the idea of the boat came into play, and kind of started thinking about potentially moving on to a boat and doing that, traveling the world via sailboat.
And then we learned that it's not that easy to just anchor your boat your home next to surf breaks.
There's times. It happens.
When we started looking for boats, in our marina was a Bayfield, and I walked through it and fell in love, but there just aren't that many of them out there. So we were looking for other boats, and then this one popped up onto the market.
They only made 50 of these Bayfield 40s, catch-rigged Bayfield 40s. So yeah, it was tough to, it'd been several years I was keeping my eye open for a particular Bayfield 40. We were also shopping for some other things, but yeah, this we just kind of came upon this one. It didn't seem like there were too many of them popping up for sale. So when we did find this and we went and looked at it, it was pretty fun. That it was in the hometown that they were actually built. There's a lot of history there, and bought it from a great couple that had owned it for a long time. And yeah, so it was a good fit for us.
Actually, Kyle looked at it without me.
Oh, it's really sad Missy couldn't be there, but I was nervous after we bought it and then brought her back. I was like, oh, I hope it's what she remembers.
Her and she had a different name, and we were going round and round and round trying to come up with what to name her, and came across the original documentation from her original owners, and her name was Macushla. And the more we thought about it, the more we were just like, it's a really cool, it fits the old boat, it's just a really cool name. I started researching Macushla, and it had a really cool, it's old Irish name that indirectly translates to the pulse of my heart. So that's what we renamed her. And our really good friend painted the name on the back of the boat, so it just meant a lot to us. It was really cool.
Let's see, so for our trek to get to where we are today, coming from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which is on Lake Michigan. It's right on the western shore of Lake Michigan, about halfway up the lake there. We left August of last year, which would have been, let's see,
2 years.
2 years, yeah, coming up on 2 years ago. And we came out of the Great Lakes and sailed through the Great Lakes, and then puts you into Buffalo, New York, and then we took the Erie Canal, which is a long man-made ditch basically that goes all the way out to the Hudson River. You go through, is it 34 locks as you go through the Erie Canal there. It's pretty fun. All the rigging had to come down. We carried the masts on deck, made some big cradles and supported the masts that way, so we're kind of like an oversized canoe going down this river. And that spits you out in the Hudson River, and we came down the Hudson River about 100 miles down the Hudson. That puts you out by the Statue of Liberty through New York City. And we went offshore to Norfolk. And then from Norfolk, we took the intercoastal to Beaufort, North Carolina. Beaufort, I think is the correct pronunciation there for North Carolina. And from there, we went offshore 1,500-mile leg to St. Martin. So that put us in the Caribbean, and that would have been about November of 2019. And then from there, we've just been island hopping our way down the Caribbean, and all the way down to Grenada, and then now recently we've gone Grenada to the ABCs, Curacao, and then now we're in Colombia. So yeah, it's been a fun, for us, about full time on the boat for about 1.5 years now. So
when we bought the boat and started our trip, I had a girlfriend that said, you have to document what you're doing. We want to see it. We want to see every moment. And so she was like, you have to make these videos. There's a channel out there. You got to watch them. They're amazing. You all know it. So I did. I just started putting together little bits of clips of what we were doing, and it's been a really fun way to kind of document what we're doing and then be able to share a small piece of this life with our family and friends, and then with other people that are equally interested in wanting to do it, or just, you know, fascinated about the lifestyle. So it's been a really fun, really like rewarding way to document our journey and what we're doing. Our video channel is 4 Sheets to the Wind. Get it? And there's a link somewhere. Well, thanks for watching.
yeah, thanks for coming and checking out the boat, and yeah, listening to our story. So
Let us know if you have any questions. We'll answer them for you.